Hello everybody, welcome back to another Topical Tuesday video series where we just kind of pop on the Lost Ark subreddit and see what's been happening in the last week or so. I've had some time to sit down and record a video. I haven't had a little bit of time to sit down and actually make a video in a bit. It's quite early in the morning, but I still like making my videos for you guys when I can. That being said, I picked out a few different things that are, I think, interesting that's been happening over the last week on the subreddit. Main thing here is balance patch implied to be coming in January. A lot of people have lost their marbles over this. I was just trying to think, like... Here, let's just read the actual post that they made. So, the actual post that they ended up making was team update bringing balance updates to the West. I'm just going to paraphrase this shit. I don't feel like reading a bunch of fucking flavor nothing. But basically, they're saying they have essentially base builds that only get updated every like 3 months essentially or whatever. Core systems. So what they're saying here is, like, for example, the November 2023 update includes features from patches that were released in Korea between July 5th and September 13th. All packaged up and prepared by Smilegate RPG and Amazon Games, these combine to make a base build, which is different than just releasing an independent piece of content. Obviously, we all know everything is different, and they're essentially piecemealing patches together, which is always iffy. I'm sure you've seen any other game in the existence of the world that does this shit. But they're saying, basically, simultaneous releases are not really feasible. Well, not necessarily feasible, but here they say, for this reason, simultaneous releases are not easy, and some updates in Korea may be adjusted again at a later date, so Western builds have the advantage of having additional testing that collect and combine those changes. So, this is also true. We don't get some scuffed update immediately. Equally so, though, we won't get like a massively broken update in our favor, typically. So, say like they overbuff something massively, Korea gets to play with it for like a week or 2 or 3. We'll never see that version of it. But I mean, I think that's a small price to pay for having like a test build that is a completely different version, which is kind of, it has its own benefits. But it says here, however, if Amazon Games determines that we need significant improvements sooner, such as endgame raid changes and Chaos Gate update, we will work with Smilegate RPG in advance and aim to bring it to the West as soon as possible, separate from the actual base build update. And like I said, basically base build updates happen like every 3-ish months, I think is what they said. But yeah, they see here, with the November update including the latest Korean base build, we are currently working on preparing the next base build for January 2024. So, November, December, January, 3 months, right? So, we're likely to get the balance patch in January 2024. I think this is all fairly reasonable, and I don't see anything crazy here. Like, it's pretty tame and standard, in my opinion. But the biggest sentiment kind of seems like people are just upset in general about some classes being horribly outdated and, like, seemingly untouched for so long. And I mean, obviously, I completely agree. Like, this top post on... the top comment on the thread is, in my humble opinion, the real problem is how long it takes for Smilegate to even realize that some classes are outdated and make changes. There's no way in well over a year, not a single person on the balance team realized just how badly designed some skills on many classes are for new content. Like... yeah, I completely agree. This shit is ridiculous. And this also ties into this thread that we're going to be taking a look at, which is what exactly is a skill expression behind Second Doomsday? And the TLDR to that question is there is none. It's terrible design that was never intended. But people obviously learned about it and started playing around it, so bing bang boom, that's what you get. And they never changed it because why change it? No fucking way somebody played War Dancer on both specs and in-game content and said, yo, this shit is fire, let's leave it at that. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of skills on some classes are just not in the same year as other classes, right? Like, pre-rework Berserker versus Predator, it's like not even a question. You're playing two different classes that are like from different time periods, man. Like old Berserker was so outdated feeling. Obviously they realized this and made fucking actual Berserker feel a lot less shitty by dropping some of the shittier skills and making the skills smoother to use, but a lot of classes don't have that luxury, i.e. War Dancer. It's just insane. What makes no sense to me is they said in KR want to make balanced patches potentially every 1 or 2 months because of the backlash of the last balance patch. How on earth would that work in the West? When we have to wait like 4 months or so for the balance patch to hit us, we'd be skipping multiple balance patches at that rate. Yes. That is correct. And because of how the base build things work, we would be getting the latest update, right? So, like, if they got 2 separate balance patches in the time between the base build merge, then we would get both of the balance patches at the same time, right? That's the whole idea behind the system, and that's what they explained, right? Whether you think this is a good or a bad thing is completely subjective and opinion-based, right? There's upsides and downsides to it for sure, but I mean, it's just a Korean game, right? Korean game ported to the West. You just have to kind of accept being a second-class citizen when you're playing a Korean game, I think, is sort of the mindset you have to go into this, right? And I mean, doesn't make it good or right, but it just is what it is. And I mean, unpopular opinion, balance patch should be in December, Voldyke in January. I mean, I'm all for them pushing back actual content releases. Excuse me. Because I'm someone who... I'm someone who plays this game a shit ton, but I play it significantly less now. But even now, like... Here, let's pop onto my Lost Ark. Like... I don't play this game nearly as much anymore, but, like, look at my roster, right? Obviously, if I had just focused on my one character and honed my Soulfist, it could very easily be 1620. Especially if I decided not to waste all my fucking money on trying to 22 my weapon. Obviously, I've done dumb things. But to say that they're not releasing, like, the content at a very insanely fast rate, especially adjacent to, like, the normal speed of most people who play games, right? Because the reality of it is, the vast majority of a player base in a game is not the, like, sweaty nerd lords, right? It's really not. Obviously, the vocal minority, excuse me, not the vocal majority. The vocal minority is always going to scream the loudest, and it'll typically be that sort of player base, right? And you can see it with any other game in the existence of games, right? But, to say that it's an unpopular opinion, I think, is kind of ridiculous. And yeah, this guy's saying it too. Good old Rip Bozo 360 No Scope has the right idea. Unless you're free to play with 24 characters, I'm pretty sure it's not an unpopular opinion. They don't make money out of delaying Voldyke in January, especially considering the rush of 1620. I'm 1615, but I give up for hard mode release. I mean, it's just what I mean. Like, the jump between 1600 and 1620 is absolutely fucking monstrous, right? It's not even like it's just absurd. I do think that Mine should probably be our summer update. I know that's going to be an unpopular opinion. And Voldyke should honestly... I mean, January would be better than what we have now, but I feel like they could even push it back maybe to February. I don't know, though. I know people get very antsy and they want their stuff now. But I wouldn't hate to see that. I do think Theamine should be our summer update, though. I don't think they should push it out before summer. Like, that should be our, like, flagship summer update, in my opinion. And I feel like they should announce it early, too, to get people, like, hyped up for it or whatever, right? Like, oh, Theamine is going to be the big summer update, guys. Come back and get ready for it. XOXO. Shit like that. But realistically, Theamine will probably come out way too soon. March, April, maybe. And it'll be... excuse me. Another clusterfuck just like Voldyke and this shit is. with the December release. Not surprised. Balance changes they can use for a main piece and a monthly roadmap content. Yeah, I guess. They say next large base is in January, but Voldus being not a base thing feels off. Well, base... I mean... So, my understanding is that probably the majority of that content is already in the base build, it's just not activated, right? Obviously, I'm sure there is still things missing, but I feel like the core content is still in the client, right? Again, I'm just talking on my ass, but I'm talking from, like, how other games functionally work. Again, I don't know. But I think that's enough on the balance patch harping. What exactly is the skill expression behind Second Doomsday? Isn't it just simply bad design? The answer is yes, it is fucking terrible design. Because it was never designed to be like that, in my honest opinion. First of all, I'm not crying or anything, nor a Sorkme, just simply wondering what's the logic behind it. You get like 1-2 second window at the end of Igniter buff to throw out your Second Doomsday. There's literally nothing you can do to make it sure it lands or not, unless the boss is doing some long-ass pattern. What is the skill expression behind this? There is none. And then, of course, you have the top meme post, which is very, very funny. The skill expression is there, you know, it's just very subtle. You take Gate 1 of a con, for example. Now, you see, most geared parties will push them to 144 bars before you can even cast your Second Doomsday, right? So, the counterplay to that, you have to get hit by a bunch of yellow fucking patterns to make sure your team cannot do enough damage, buying you the time to drop your Second Doomsday. Now, in raids where such mechanics aren't present, you have to improvise, right? You have spam red ping on the boss, disorienting your teammates, fuck up their DPS. If you're in voice chat, distract them with an outrageous take or some shock humor. Yeah, basically, it's just terrible design because it's not designed like that. It's not meant to be like that, and it feels so wrong that it exists, right? I've been saying it for how fucking long, and I know I'm not the only person who has said something similar. Why don't you just make Doomsday hit harder, but increase the cooldown on it? Wow. Instantly, Igniter Sork would feel miles better to play. But, shit. What do I know? It is very clear that it was a quirky interaction with Ignite cooldown reduction that players discovered right away, and was never an intentional design choice, and the devs decided to simply just roll with it. Remember, this is a dev studio that decided to use an engine from 2006. Anyways, it is fixed now, and it's called Soul Eater. I mean, it is what it is what we call that. Double Pity should be from 1540 to 1580 without the event. The event really highlighted how nice Double Pity was. I pitied my 19 brawl weapon and it didn't fucking destroy me. Pitied 4 armor from 18 to 19 and another 4 from 17 to 18, but I didn't feel like I wanted to die. Also, so many less taps needed. If you don't agree, I would love to hear why Double Pity shouldn't just exist in the game for that level range. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna argue against that, right? Who likes to fail more? I mean, yeah, obviously it's great. But will they do it? Of course not. Why do we lose Relic set buffs in Ether Predator when we move gates? Is Smile Gate stupid? Yeah, I'm sure they're fucking very stupid, depending on who you ask. Some notable examples: between Gate 1 and Gate 2 in Brel, you lose your stacks and shit. Triangle, Gate 1, Gate 2, you lose your stacks and shit. A con, Gate 1, Gate 2, you lose your shit. Oldike and Thea might need confirmation, but yeah, it's annoying. Why? I couldn't tell you. And I don't think very many people could tell you. In fact, I think only a developer really could tell you why. I'm sure it's some problem with the game and how it tracks the dungeons. I have no fuck. I mean, let's read the comments and see what the theories are. Designed as different dungeons. Designed as different dungeons. A con, it's a bug. I mean, I guess you could use the logic that this is right, but because it exists in a con, it just all seems like a bug, right? I think trying to find logic in it when there isn't any logic to be had is, like, crazy. But yeah, it's just fucked. They should just change all sets to be applied always. No stupid awakening needed to refresh it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you need to cast your awakening to activate Nightmare. I mean, it doesn't make sense, man. Just have it on, right? Sophus losing identity for no reason after Cackle's Gate 1 Simon Says mechanic. Yeah, it is funny. You don't get your spirit gauge back if you're in hype after the clown mechanic, the dance. So you have to make sure you cancel hype before that mechanic, or else if you go into it, you will not have your R. You have to wait 30 some seconds or whatever if you're energy overflower. I mean, you still have to wait as robust, but it's not as bad, right? But I think that's about it for this episode of Topical Tuesday. We looked over some interesting stuff, but that's what's been happening. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching as always and hanging out with me. I'll see you guys all in the next video, whenever that may be. Be nice to each other.